Hey everyone, Michael.Pigon. This is a one-take, 10-minute intro regarding the most important scholarly work since the New Testament, the definitive and authoritative harmony of the Gospels solved. So the way this works is I'm going to just speak extemporaneously for about 10 minutes. You're not expected to watch the whole thing, right? The second part is the technical side of my data sheet, my original and unique poster, which I call Harmony of the Gospel Solved! My second master's was awarded for successfully defending my thesis-driven research paper, Azusa Pacific University, 2008, Harmony of the Gospel Solved. For those of you that are familiar with harmonization of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, what is integral to the true narrative of Christ's earthly ministry according to the Gospels is identification of John chapter 5, his unnamed feast. So the two happen to be the same. The definitive harmony, that is the narrative, as well as identifying John's unnamed festival. My research paper does this. It does it definitively. It does it authoritatively. And so what you have here is an introduction, right, according to what's coming off the top of my brain, having solved the harmonization in the year 2000 as a Bible student at a local church college. So in 2000, what we had was the abundance of personal computing. And what happened with me, okay, is that I fell in love with the Gospel of Mark, knew the narrative like somebody might know the narrative of a movie or a book or of their life, right? So I fell in love with the narrative, and I knew I could anticipate, the upcoming events, the upcoming pericopes, the upcoming drama unfolding according to the Gospel of Mark. So since that happened to me, I wanted to compare Mark, the narrative of Mark, to the narrative of Matthew. And it happened that because of personal computing, I used an Excel spreadsheet, and I put Mark alongside Matthew. And the second part of this 10-minute intro is indeed, showing you that data sheet. And it shows what nobody else had ever seen before. In 2,000 years, people have been trying to harmonize Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. And there's never been a consensus. But they didn't have the view afforded by my unique and original view of putting chapter headings and subheadings in data cells, right? And just putting Mark next to Matthew. So it's not the whole text, but it's, 4 fishermen called as disciples, right? Many healed after Sabbath sunset. The crucifixion of Jesus, right? And so that makes about a 6-foot poster when you include some time and place stamps as well that come directly from Scripture. So once again, that'll be the second part of this 2-part, presentation. 10 minutes of me just giving you more of the history of what this is, and then the second 10 minutes is, okay, now here's the poster itself. So what happened is, when I made that poster, 6-foot poster, I thought, well, let's just go ahead and put Luke and John. An Excel spreadsheet, 4 columns. I put Mark, Matthew, Luke, and John first for no other reason than I had first fallen in love with Mark, okay? And so you stand back and you do a little bit of color coding, and it's that simple. You see for the first time what scholarship has not seen in 2,000 years. And the short answer is, first of all, Mark and Luke align from top to bottom of the poster. That is, from the beginning to the end of their narrative, they agree. They agree top to bottom. Now, there's a reason why there's, scholarship hasn't always recognized that. And so here is the most important thing, though. This is what makes this project so fun, is that the solution to harmonization is so easy. Matthew is out of place in exactly 4 blocked areas, as if pieces of parchment had been misplaced during handling. Okay, now the history of how that could have happened, that's a good one too. Okay, so I've got 5 minutes left, 4 minutes left, right? I might even cover that. Maybe I won't, but it is in my research paper. Okay, so the bottom line is, when you make this poster, you see in an instant that, are those chemtrails? Anyway, like I said, it's extemporaneous, okay? Matthew is out of order in exactly 4 blocked areas of Scripture. And they have their obvious corollaries in Mark and Luke. So, with 3.5 more minutes in this introduction, read Luke 1 through 4. His introduction. He says, many have undertaken to write an orderly account of the things that, have taken place among us. So after investigating all things thoroughly, I now report to you, a narrative, right? From the beginning. So Luke, I would suggest, is consciously affirming Mark's narrative, which in fact he actually does. Luke affirms Mark's narrative because they align from top to bottom. Okay, now quick history, because this is off the top of my head. It looks like Matthew originally wrote in Hebrew. Mark is looking at Matthew Hebrew and writes his gospel. So there's so much of the same information with nuances among the words. So somebody, whoever, provided a Greek account of Matthew's gospel. And these are in circulation with those 4 misplaced sections of Matthew. So they're circulating, but there's a discrepancy in the narrative. Luke specifically and consciously addresses narrative, chronology, an orderly account, having investigated everything from the beginning, right? According to eyewitnesses. So what we have is, Luke specifically saying, okay, I'm going to give you the true chronology. And he actually does agree with Mark. And my suggestion is, which is very conservative suggestion, by the way, there was Greek Matthew circulating, which was an early translation of Hebrew Matthew. That explains not just the nuances between Matthew and Mark, and there's obviously literary dependence, just so you know, right? When you look at Matthew and Mark, especially on the poster, they begin and end at the same time so many places, okay? So there's literary dependence. For me, as a conservative, evangelical, born-again, Bible-believing Christian, I'm extremely comfortable with that. So I want to put that out there, okay? This is not liberal scholarship. This is the conservative view, right? All we have to do, and we have a scriptural authority to do this, is to read those 4 blocked portions of Matthew according to their obvious corollaries in Mark and Luke. That's it. 4 areas. 4, that's it. Just 4 blocked areas. You leave John 5 where it is, it fits perfectly according to narrative, according to content, according to a harmonization, as John chapter 5. Pentecost. John chapter 5 is Pentecost, right? 50 days after the initial clearing of the temple in John chapter 2. I hope you enjoy the 10-minute presentation. It's the technical side. This is what's been bubbling over my heart for the last 16 years. And now, to the study.